You look at the starting lineups for the Rams. We mentioned the point guard, Joey Rodriguez. The scoring comes from Bradford Burgess, 14 a game. Jamie Skeen at 15 a game. You look at Florida State. Michael Snare just on 9 a game. The point guard is Derwin Kitchen. And Bernard James, the 26-year-old, who spent 6 years in the service before playing a year at community college, and then here he is in the starting lineup for Florida State.
Now it should be mentioned that Chris Singleton, Florida State's leading scorer, will come off the bench. He's been dealing with a foot injury. Missed 6 games, just came back the last couple of games for the tournament, but really didn't play major minutes. Leonard Hamilton trying to fit him back into the rotation, but it's been tough.
Yeah, he's back from a broken foot. This high-definition television broadcast for March Madness provided by LG Life's Good. The officials, Jerry Pollard, James Breeding, Lamar Simpson, and Florida State in the white uniform controller. Davidus Dulkis, a junior from Lithuania.
What a great sign for Florida State. You know, this is something they did early against Notre Dame. They made 7 threes in the first half, and once they got the lead, their defense just wouldn't let them give it up, and I think that's a key in this game. If they can get off to a quick start, that defense takes over.
And Dulkis is a player. Most of his shots are from three-point land. Bernard James of Florida State called on that foul.
Very inconsistent shooter. When Dulkis shoots, every time he puts it up, you think it's going in. He's got a beautiful stroke, but he has been inconsistent all season. 33% from the three-point line, 36 overall.
Right at the start, you saw the good pressure on the inbounds by the Seminoles. Rodriguez. This is Burgess. The ball in the hands of Joey Rodriguez most of the time. He is the assist man. He averages about 5 a game. Here's Skeen for 3. J.T. Skeen, the leading scorer for Virginia Commonwealth.
Transfer from Wake Forest. He has the ability to go inside or out. A very key player for the Rams, and he's going to have to shoot some from the perimeter because interior points for Skeen will be very tough to come by tonight.
Kitchen forced outside. This is Snare, Michael Snare, sophomore from Moreno Valley, California. Shot clock is down to 7. Kitchen from long range and goes glass.
Great challenge from Ed Nixon. And Kitchen was way off on that shot. Just got lucky and banked it in. How about that? 2 for 2 from the three-point line for Florida State.
VCU at 26-11 out of the Colonial Athletic Association. That's a traveling violation.
Now take a look. The shot clock winding down. Nixon with a great challenge. Shot is off to the right by a foot. So off that it banks in off the glass.
Florida State 23-10. They went 11-5 in the ACC, their best conference record since back in 1993. And this is Kreft who just came on. John Kreft, a 7-footer, a junior from Parkland, Florida. Early substitution by Leonard Hamilton.
Now he's got the ability to pick and pop and make an outside shot. I think Hamilton is thinking that he can try to soften up this VCU defense by spreading the floor a little bit.
Burgess tripped up, so he is fouled. Bradford Burgess, who has started all 105 games at Virginia Commonwealth. He's played extremely well the past couple of weeks. And now Devontae Reddick will come on for VCU, so both teams going to be substitutions. Rodriguez able to get inside.
Now you're going to see VCU go to Reddick, Rob Brandenburg, and Brandon Rozelle very early in the game. Rozelle, a big-time scorer, had 26 against Georgetown, hit some big threes against Purdue as well.
Snare looking for some room. With Snare. Ball down by Skeen. We are just underway. The winner takes on Kansas. action with that rebound.
But I like what VCU did there. Push the ball in transition, get it on the floor, and move the ball before Florida State's defense can take over. They got a good look.
Nice pass down low from Kraft. It's a three-point attempt. And Nixon able to keep it alive as see Rodriguez checking with the head coach, Shaka Smart. Smart in his second season as head coach of the Rams. They went 27-9 last year. This year they make it to the Sweet 16. There is Shaka. Foul is called on Connor White of Florida State. 53 wins in 2 seasons. That's a school record for Shaka Smart. And what a future he has. VCU fans hoping he'll be in Richmond at VCU, but a lot of people will be very interested. And I think, you know, one of the interesting things about the NCAA tournament, Marv, it's almost an audition for some of these young coaches. They get to the Sweet 16, they have success, then all of a sudden the pregame talk is on national TV, and they get to show the country what they're all about. Well, the Rams turn it over, so the ball back to Florida State. Seminoles in that last game against Notre Dame hit 9 threes, 9 of 19. It's a team that shoots only 33% from three. There's another three attempted by Bill Keys. And the foul is called on Virginia Commonwealth. There's Leonard Hamilton, the head coach at Florida State, his 9th season, took over the program in the summer of 2002 when things were not going particularly well. ACC Coach of the Year, a couple of seasons back. 2-time Big East Coach of the Year at the University of Miami.
His identity for this team is defense, defense, and more defense. As Singleton, who just checked into the game, can't get the lay-in to go, but this is a long and athletic team for Leonard Hamilton. They are going to make life miserable for Joey Rodriguez and the Rams tonight.
All right, thank you, Greg. So North Carolina waiting in the wings for the winner between Ohio State and Kentucky.
And boy, did they look good against Marquette. Got the potential to be an amazing matchup. If Ohio State can advance, well, that's quite a regional final.
The Rams of VCU, who committed just 4 turnovers on the last game against Purdue in that convincing victory, already have turned it over twice here at the start.
And they're going to turn it over some more, too. And what was interesting talking to Shaka Smart yesterday was he said we can't get discouraged. Great play, great pass by Rodriguez and the dunk by Reddick. He said we can't get discouraged when we don't score. He knows they're going to get some scoring droughts in this game. He said we can't let it affect our energy defensively.
Kitchen not able to hit, but on the rebound, another possession is Singleton on the drive for the scoop. Chris Singleton has made it back from surgery for a broken right foot. And in the tournament, he's returned by playing 10 minutes and then 16 minutes. It's only his 3rd game back.
And a mistake by VCU chasing him off that 3-point line. Anytime a guy comes back from injury, you got to make him prove that he's going to make that outside shot. He can make that. He's 36% from 3, but that's not really his game. I mean, he's a guy who wants to get inside. Don't chase him 25 feet away from the hoop.
Singleton, this excellent defender, the ACC Defensive Player of the Year once again. Singleton called on that foul as first.
Here's what I'm talking about. A guy like Singleton, you don't want to let him see the ball go through the hoop. You don't want to give him an easy one early because he's trying to find his rhythm. You chase him out there 25 feet from the hoop. That's a mistake.
Both teams shuffling. That's been the story throughout the season for both head coaches. Bradford Burgess back, coming out for Ed Nixon.
Both teams like to play a lot of people, and for Florida State, it has a lot to do with the defensive energy that they put forth on every possession. Leonard Hamilton tells his guys, go all out, and I'll get you out as soon as you're tired, and then I'll get you right back in.
Rodriguez using the pick. Rodriguez. And it was run into. Foul against Florida State.
Now, one thing that's apparent early to me, Marv, is the size of the Seminole backcourt is going to bother Joey Rodriguez. And he's a guy who can knock down that open look, but he's short. He's listed at 5'11". If he is 5'11", I'm 6'8". I mean, he does not get his shot off very well against taller defenders, and Florida State's just flying at him.
See, I have the listing at 5'10". He claims, as Gibson has called him a foul, he claims he's 5'9" and 3/4.
Okay, all right.
And now Jamie Skeen, a 73% free throw shooter, will go to the line.
And a reminder, watch live video and get real-time box scores, stats, and social media updates during the game on your iPhone and iPad with the NCAA March Madness On Demand app. For details, go to mmod.ncaa.com.
That was the 6th team foul on Florida State. So this is Jamie Skeen, a senior out of Charlotte. Mr. Basketball for the state of North Carolina. They had another opportunity, could not convert. Luke Laux, the backup point guard, now handling. The ball is slapped out of his hands. The call is away from the ball.
I think they got Skeen pushing Singleton. Singleton tried to cut to the hoop. Let's take a look. Little screen there. And the bump, was it? Yeah, I think it was Skeen.
Nice leading. Chris Singleton off the rebound.
Great sign for Florida State. 2 early buckets for Singleton. We talked about it. Leonard Hamilton has been trying to get him back into the rhythm of the game. It looks like he is right now.
Rodriguez for 3, yes.
Big shot. He needed that one for his confidence, just to know that he can knock down a shot against this big, fast defense of Florida State.
Virginia Commonwealth by a point. 13.5 remaining in this first half. Singleton on the drive, and you can see that he is showing confidence as he is fouled.
Meanwhile, here's the game plan for VCU. Got to put the ball on the floor and then find shooters. You can't expect to go one-on-one against this defense, but if you make an extra pass and then a second or third pass beyond that even, then you'll find some holes in this Florida State defense.
Oh, what a move on a crossover. Chris Singleton is the emotional leader for Florida State, averaging 13 points during the regular season, but best known for his defensive play.
Yeah, but what a great sign. 3 early buckets. Florida State needs all the offense it can get.
Rodriguez not able to hit on the scoop. Michael Snare from downtown.
Excellent three-point shooter, about 36%. And he has the ability, as we saw, to pull up in transition and knock it down.
Here is Snare, and he was apparently called for potting.
We saw Snare do this on the opening weekend during Florida State's victories over A&M and Notre Dame. He was really good. We talked about it. They got three-point shooting, particularly against Notre Dame, from Snare and others. Dulkes among them, and Laux. And I think anytime they can get some threes to go, it seems to make a huge difference in their game, because, as we talked about, they do struggle to score in the half court.
Substitutions continue. Darius Theus, sophomore backup point guard, has checked in for VCU, and Terrence Shannon, a sophomore for Florida State, guy who provides instant energy, wearing number 15, and you will notice him immediately as Veal gets it down low, and it's broken up.
Boy, shaky pass there from Veal. Against this size and speed of the front line of Florida State, you can't just lob a pass towards the hoop. Everything has to be crisp.
Florida State by 4. Seminoles started the season 5-0. They dropped back-to-back games to Florida and Ohio State over the Christmas holidays. They came up with a victory over number 15 Baylor, and then they lost 2 straight on the road, followed by that huge home win over #1 ranked Duke. That was back in mid-January.
And that game gave them the confidence that they needed coming into this tournament as Bradford Burgess finds his first hoop of the night.
2-point lead for Florida State. Keys. Miller. Ian Miller just came on. He can shoot. Good job defensively here by the Rams. That shot way off. Attempted by Shannon. But kept alive. Well, the shot clock still running. Did not make contact with the rim. So here comes Virginia Commonwealth. Theus. There's Theus out of Portsmouth, Virginia. Came on for Joey Rodriguez. Sometimes they'll play together. Rob Brandenburg, freshman. And they work the clock down. Out of 5 on the shot clock. This is a long three-point attempt.
Oh, what a great defensive possession from Florida State. There's no penetration for the Rams.
And air ball is fielded. It's kept alive momentarily by Shannon. And Kitchen looks to set up. Kitchen on the pull-up.
Well, the pace is picking up, but nobody can make a shot.
Burgess for 3, yes.
And that's their game, especially tonight, Marv. They've got to get long rebounds and steals and get out in transition because there are just no openings against Florida State. And now VCU goes to the full court trap and forces a timeout.
Good job. They had Derwin Kitchen trapped in the corner. The Rams up by a point.
Welcome back to San Antonio, where yesterday 26-year-old Bernard James of Florida State received a special honor. After practice, Chief Master Juan Lewis from Ackland Air Force Base presented Bernard James with a ceremonial coin. It was here in San Antonio that James began his military career. He served 6 years, and the coin was presented to him for pride, enthusiasm, and passion for doing an outstanding performance in his line of duties. So a lot of military folks here, major Air Force bases, Ackland and also Randolph, also Sam Houston base in San Antonio, and here to celebrate and to also honor one of their brethren. Mark?
And Steve, when he enrolled in the Air Force, he was 6'5". When he got out, 6'10".
It's like the David Robinson story.
Nice play. And Derwin Kitchen with the finish. Florida State up by a point. That's an offensive foul. A charge on Darius Theus of Virginia Commonwealth. We'll take a break. Halfway through this first half. 1-point game. All right, thank you, Greg. Shaka Smart getting some of his starters back on the floor, including the senior point guard Joey Rodriguez. It is Florida State ball. And they're now up by a point as we hit the halfway mark of this first half.
And VCU goes back to this trapping press. They like to do this. Shaka Smart loves to mix up his defenses.
Carl White not able to hit on that runner. This is Theus and Rodriguez in the backcourt. Burgess with room for 3.
You mentioned the Theus Rodriguez backcourt. It's something VCU fans have seen quite a bit of this year. Smart loves to go with the double point guard as James misses on the runner.
Rodriguez with the lob and draws the foul.
And this is why, against a great defensive team like Florida State, to have two guys who can handle the ball and distribute and find open players is a luxury. And if VCU can deal with the size of Florida State at the other end, then you may see more of this Theus Rodriguez backcourt.
Committed by Kitchen, and Burgess, a 75% free throw shooter at the line. He broke out against Purdue, had a big game, 23 points, 8 rebounds for Bradford Burgess.
Let's take a look at our tournament summary. Kansas once again in the Elite Eight. Carolina, boy, did they look good. And really Donovan, 4th trip to the Elite Eight. He's got his Gators back after the back-to-back title several years ago. And they had a little bit of a dry spell down there, but looks like Donovan's got that program rolling again.
And again, some pressure here by the Rams. Look to trap. Burgess has scored the last 7 points for VCU. Florida State handling it well. This is Snare. And a foul as Rodriguez got involved with White.
Is a foul on White or Rodriguez?
Looks like it is on White, his second. Akara White, freshman from Clearwater, Florida, called for the foul. Florida State over the limit, 1-1 here for Joey Rodriguez, who is an excellent free throw shooter, 84% at the line.
And getting to the foul line allows VCU to set up its full court press. And I think that's something that Shaka Smart wants to do a lot of. And you look at this team, they're trying to speed up the game. Remember, Florida State averages 16 turnovers a game and just 12 assists. So they can be a little shaky with the ball, and when VCU forces turnovers, it allows them to get easy shots.
In his first couple of years at the VCU, Rodriguez played in the shadow of Ram star Eric Maynard. And now Joey, very clearly the heart of this team again. Here's the pressure. James is back to help. And Kitchen gets it down. Snare for 3. James with the rebound, went up to the reverse, was blocked, missed on the follow, another opportunity, and he scores.
3 chances for the Seminoles, and that's going to be a major factor here, the rebound battle. Both these teams very active. Both are going to miss a lot of shots. Who can get those offensive rebounds, the loose balls, the 50-50 balls? I know you love that expression.
Yes.
But whoever can kind of get those loose ones is going to have a huge edge here.
Rodriguez asking for the screen and gets it down low. Beautifully done. Jamie Skeen on the pick and roll with Joey Rodriguez.
Some guards pass over the top of the defense. Rodriguez goes underneath. He sees underneath players because of his size. Beautiful bounce pass there.
Kitchen kept alive. Singleton. Kitchen on the follow.
There's so much speed and quickness and size, Marv, at every position. The guards are even big for Florida State.
Derwin Kitchen, originally a recruit of St. John's in Florida. It's picked off by Kitchen. 2 runs back, Kitchen all the way. The tip missed. Kept alive by Singleton. Hamilton is a backcourt now. Kitchen and Laux. They double up on Bernard James, and it's a tie.
I like that strategy from VCU. Double James. James doesn't have a lot of basketball experience. Big guys don't really like to be doubled, especially when they're not comfortable with it. Look at Rodriguez seeing underneath the defense. Beautiful bounce pass. And Skeen with the lay-in. We've got a good one here. Welcome back to San Antonio, VCU by 1. Let's take a look at the game summary and what really stands out. Look at the field goal attempts. 32 for Florida State, 16 for VCU. They've doubled them up thanks to an enormous edge on the boards. And it has been a major battle for VCU just trying to control the ball. Florida State may not shoot the ball well. I mean, 9 for 32, I rest my case. But it doesn't matter if they get every offensive rebound.
Florida State started out hitting 6 of the first 12. Since then, just 3 of 19 from the field. Virginia Commonwealth with a 1-point lead. Skeen. William Kitchen. John Crawford the floor. 7-foot junior. Playing the high post. Snare coming up short, and they continue to have their shooting difficulties.
Yeah, but they get the ball back again. And I think we're going to see a foul on Joey Rodriguez. And a reminder, Kentucky and Ohio State are playing right now in Newark. That game is over on CBS.
And that is a two-point game. Laux will throw in for the baseline.
Mark, did they get Rodriguez on that foul? I believe they did. And that's
a second.
Yeah.
Off the steal. And that's a common violation on Brandon Rozelle.
Yeah, and that's a good call from the officials. It was called the other way on Florida State a few minutes ago. Here's the strip from Rozelle. Really nice play, but he turns it over at the other end.
And once again, VCU goes with pressure that has bothered Florida State. But this time a foul on Bradford Burgess. That's his first. Number 5 on Virginia Commonwealth. Virginia Commonwealth making it to the Sweet 16 by defeating USC in the first 4, followed by wins over Georgetown and Purdue. They won 3 games in 5 days to advance to the round of 16 for the first time in school history.
Yeah, I think they caught some momentum. You know, we talked about this a little bit with the first 4 going on, whether one of these teams in the first 4 would actually gain from that experience. I think they did. Their worst game of the tournament was against USC. They kind of snuck that one out at the end and did not play well. But since then, they've been on fire, and I think that experience helped them out. They gained some confidence, got their feet wet, and were ready to go.
Singleton on the wing. Back comes Brandon Rozelle. Now a switch by Kreft. Nice ball movement here by Virginia Commonwealth.
And that's it. That's the game right there. Transition, ball movement, and find the open shooter before Florida State can set up its defense. And another foul here on the Rams.
How about Bradford Burgess with 12 points? He's the high man for VCU. Florida State will put it in play. The foul is called on Javante Reddick.
Burgess, a very dynamic offensive player. He can score inside and out. And in this game, he's probably going to find more of his points from the perimeter. He's a 40% three-point shooter. He's made 60 coming into tonight's game. And he is going to be counted on tonight big time. He's responding.
Otto Stranger, the clutch shots, hit a number of clutch three-pointers to win games as a freshman. Singleton pops it back out. They swing it. And he's been off. Michael Snare not able to hit.
And the cold shooting continues for Florida State.
And that's a traveling violation.
Well, Mark, let's give some credit to the VCU defense, too. You know, we've talked so much about Florida State, but the Rams play pretty good defense as well. They hold their opponents to 45% shooting during the year. They average 8 steals a game, so they're a team that can cause some havoc, and I think they've bothered Florida State. The problem is they just have not been able to rebound, and so Florida State just continuing to pound the offensive boards, and a lot of second chance opportunities, obviously, with these misses.
And you see that outstanding defense over the 3 games of the tournament. Florida State 3 for their last 22 from the field.
Now, Michael Snare had a comment yesterday at practice. He said, you know, yes, we do have a great defense, but we have to because our offense is horrible. Very honest. I appreciate that.
Well put. Kitchen. Shot clock running down. Nice move by Derwin Kitchen, who has 9 points.
He's probably their most important player for the Seminoles, and you see why. The ability to put the ball on the floor and create something, because there's not a lot of playmakers on this roster.
Just under 5 minutes remaining on the half. crossover here by Theus. And pops it home.
Wow. With Rodriguez on the bench. These are big minutes for Theus. And he comes up with the circus shot.
Darius Theus plays about 15 minutes a game. A sophomore from Portsmouth, Virginia. But he could not find the shot. It's slapped away from Singleton. It'll be Florida State ball.
Kitchen looks tired. Janine Arm, he's got his hands on his shorts. He's been out there most of this game, and he's been asked to carry a lot of this offense. Penetrating, finding shooters, handling the ball. I think he could be worn out by this VCU pressure over the course of the game.
DJ Haley, the starting center, 6'11", 270-pounder, now checks back in for VCU. And Ian Miller, freshman from Charlotte, he can shoot the three, has come back for Florida State. The pressure on the inbounds. James back to help out. This is Miller with it. Shot clock to three. Kitchen for three. And James down in a collision. And the ball is deflected out of bounds. No foul. Lambs will get it back. VCU with a 27-23 lead. Just under 4 minutes remaining first half.
This is hand-to-hand combat out here tonight. I mean, there's very few open looks. And when players do get them, they're almost too tired to knock them down.
Theus using the swing from DJ Haley. Will catch and shoot for three. Three-pointer attempted by Miller. And on the back tap, it's a 3-on-2. Led by Theus. Going high off glass.
Great play by Theus. He's been huge here in this first half. And VCU opens up a 6-point lead. And when you play Florida State, a 6-point lead in either direction seems like a lot because of the way they play.
And this the biggest lead of the night.
Now Theus really coming up big, especially with Rodriguez on the bench. The lay-in with the left hand, and then in transition, he gets the leaner to go, and the Rams with the 6-point lead. Reminder coming up on AT&T at the half. Greg Gumbel, Greg Anthony, Kenny Smith, and Charles Barkley will take you out for a live look at Kentucky versus Ohio State on CBS. That game is tied right now, and they'll get you caught up on the latest tournament news, plus a Naismith watch presented by AT&T. That's all coming up on AT&T at the half.
Coming up on 3 minutes to play in this first half, and a very impressive start here for the Rams of VCU.
And if they could just get a rebound, or they'd be in great shape, because Florida State is shooting 27%, 10 for 37 from the field. But because of the rebounding totals, as a foul is called on the Seminoles. With these totals, Florida State has attempted 37 shots to VCU's 21. And that's the only thing that's keeping Leonard Hamilton's squad in the game.
Foul on Xavier Gibson. So both teams are over the limit. And Jamie Skeen to the line, only a 73% free throw shooter. Programming reminder, Conan's got Jake Gyllenhaal and Randy Jackson. Don't miss an all-new Conan Monday at 11:10 Central, only on TBS.
Pretty big sequence there with the missed free throw at one end, the foul, now Skeen gets 2 here, and the lead could have been 4 had the free throws been converted at the other end. Instead it goes to 8, and this VCU crowd gets into it, and the Rams go into a 2-3 zone. First time we've seen this look tonight.
9-2 run here by VCU. Ryan Miller At the Golden Kitchen, the exchange. And they're not able to find his shot. Here's Kitchen with the runner. Got to draw the foul. And the tip.
And 3 more attempts for Florida State. Incredible.
Gibson able to get 2 of those tips. One went down. 31-25, Virginia Commonwealth. The winner advances to the Elite 8 to go up against the Jayhawks of Kansas. They had a 20-point victory over Richmond in the first of this doubleheader. Little cut off the baseline on Rodriguez. And a 3-pointer for Bradford Burgess. Burgess with 15 to lead the way.
Pick and roll action from Rodriguez, spacing out that Florida State defense. Great feed.
Pass from Snare, broken up and a foul. Foul on Virginia Commonwealth. That's 2 on Jamie Skeen.
Well, I love this young guy, Shaka Smart. Marv, he's done such a good job of keeping Florida State off balance here. With his changing defenses, he's mixed in some full court trapping. He's fallen back into his zone. He started out in man-to-man. And Florida State, already a team that struggles offensively. I think these different looks have bothered them.
And I thought he had you off balance at practice yesterday.
He sure did.
As he had Joey Rodriguez challenge you to a 3-point shooting contest.
And he kicked my butt, too.
Well, it wasn't. The warm-ups.
I didn't get to warm up, and I was wearing jeans.
Okay.
But, I mean, Rodriguez is like a 33% three-point shooter.
I know that hurt. Yes.
It was painful, but there's a reason I'm over here now. I'm not on the floor.
That is another 3. So Michael Snare with his second from downtown.
Much needed 3 from Snare. And finally, the Seminoles get something to go against this VCU defense.
Snare, a sophomore out of California, one of the emerging stars in the Atlantic Coast Conference. And it's just under 9 points a game. Just under a minute remaining in this first half. Once again, they go with Rodriguez and Theus on the backcourt. Here's Burgess. Rodriguez from downtown.
About an 8-second shot clock differential with the game clock. Florida State goes inside, and another putback.
Well, the miss by Singleton, and then Kitchen is right there. So Kitchen has 11 points and a foul.
He has been really good. Kitchen doing a little of everything. We talked about the size of this Florida State backcourt, and the follow, another offensive board for Florida State.
Foul on Rodriguez, so that is 3 on Joey Rodriguez.
And will Shaka Smart leave Rodriguez on the floor? It's 1 possession remaining. But you can't take the chance, and Rodriguez will go to the bench. Shaka Smart obviously worried about a potential offensive foul, and so Rob Brandenburg will take his place.
Three-point play for Derwin Kitchen.
Important finish to this half for Florida State. 6 straight points. They got the 3-pointer from Snare, and now the 3-point play from Kitchen, and it's a 3-point game.
They can play it out. Theus handles. Look out. Oh, saved the backcourt violation.
Hooking Florida State's defense everywhere.
Final seconds of the half. Theus, banked it. Down to 3, down to 2, down to 1. Too late. It's waved off. Darius Theus with a beautiful shot for Virginia Commonwealth. As the half was coming to a closer, Theus 3 of 3. He has 6 points. And VCU with a 5-point lead on Florida State as we head to halftime. Let's go to Craig. All right, Craig, how about VCU shooting 12 of 24 from the field? During the course of the season, only 2 opponents shot 50% or better against Florida State.
But a bizarre game because 43 field goal attempts for Florida State as a result of all those offensive boards. Florida State played 11 players. VCU plays 12. It's a war of attrition out here, Marv. Nobody can really get much going at the offensive end for Florida State. And as Leonard Hamilton just said, all those layups that they missed, they're going to have to convert some of those. But VCU really executing well. They've got to get a body on people, though, in the paint.
This high-definition television broadcast from March Madness being provided by LG Life's Good. Our statistician Brian Taylor pointing out, to the point you just made, there were 50 substitutions made in the first half. 27 by VCU, 23 by Florida State.
I think it has to do with the activity of both defenses. They're playing so hard that both coaches just trying to play their guys in short bursts.
Florida State in possession. Nice move by Bernard James. That's his second field goal.
Well, in their opening round win against Texas A&M, Florida State trailed at the half by 3, and then their defense took over. I think we're going to see an offensive foul on Burgess here.
That is his second personal. The area of concern for Virginia Commonwealth, the 3 that Joey Rodriguez, their point guard, picked up in the first half.
Fortunately for Shaka Smart, Theus played so well off the bench. They're getting good minutes from him, and I'm sure Smart feels like he can count on him in case Rodriguez goes out.
And Florida State back to their starting lineup. Bernard James, Akara White, David dual keys, Michael Snell, William Kitchen, and a foul as White try to take it to the rim. Foul was called on scheme.
You can see Florida State comes out their first 2 offensive possessions with some bounce to their step. I mean, they're trying to get some energy. I'm sure Leonard Hamilton let them have it at halftime. And 2 very, very good offensive possessions to start this half.
Akara White, an 82% free throw shooter. Well, you can see stories of student athletes and their achievements on the Buick Human Highlight Reel at ncaa.com/Buick. Burgess, he's had the hot hand. And played by Wilkes.
Florida State's contingent on its feet here in the Alamo Dome. We're sensing the momentum shift in this game.
Open shot to Nixon. And it's called a tie-up. And the arrow, let's see. It'll be VCU's ball. So they get the fresh 35. Virginia Commonwealth, the 11th seed. They made it to the Sweet 16 by beating USC in the first 4. Wins over Georgetown and Purdue in convincing fashion. Rodriguez just did get it in. Rodriguez played by Snare. Tries to use the pick. And a foul is called. It is on Akara White.
Well, you see the strategy defensively from Florida State. We see Leonard Hamilton's team do this all the time. They just switch everything on the perimeter. They've got the athletes to defend both inside and out. Their guards have size, as we've talked about. Their bigs have speed.
Burgess. Back comes Kitchen off the steal. Nice spin by Snare to set it up for dual keys. Yes. That's a 3 to David dual keys. And Florida State has come from behind to take the lead.
What a start for the Seminoles to this second half. Picking up its defense and finally getting the ball through the hoop a few times. Great feed from Snare. Dual keys with the bucket. And Florida State with a 2-point lead. Back in San Antonio, reminder, you can get coverage of the Division I women's basketball tournament at ncaa.com/Final Four. Got a great game here. Seminoles by 2, and a reminder, Kentucky and Ohio State are tied, playing right now in Newark. That game's over on CBS.
That game is all tied up. Meanwhile, Florida State with a 13-2 run that goes back to the end of the first half. They started out 10 of 39 from the field. They've hit 5 of the last 6 shots to take the lead. VCU in control. Bad shot attempt.
Had nowhere to go for Javante Reddick. And VCU flustered by this Florida State defense. And how do they find some points here now?
Chris Singleton is checked back in. This is 3rd game back. Making it back from that broken right foot. Pressure on the inbounds. Snare able to get it across. Singleton wide open for 3. And it's rebounded by Skeen of Virginia Commonwealth. Here's Rodriguez on the run. Florida State getting back. Rodriguez. Nicely done. Kind of a Steve Nash move by Rodriguez. Not to compare the two in any way as Rodriguez came up with the steal. It's a 3-pointer again for Bradford Burgess.
Kitchen lost sight of Rodriguez, and anytime you can't see a guy that size in front of you, pick up the ball because he's probably underneath you, and that is a huge play for the Rams. They needed that desperately.
Burgess 4 of 5 from beyond the 3-point line. VCU up by a point. For early second half. Nice move, wide open. Chris Singleton able to get the step, and he has been a factor here tonight.
He has, coming off that foot injury, really a non-factor in the first weekend of tournament play. But he has been pretty solid for Leonard Hamilton tonight.
And as Burgess looks to go baseline, he took a pop. He's fouled. We'll check in with Craig Sager. Craig.
Well, Marv, you talked about all the substitutions in the first half. We have another one you didn't report on. Jerry Pollard, one of our officials, pulled a hamstring late in the half. He has now been replaced by Bert Smith. So the alternate's back on the court.
Jerry Pollard had been working his 5th regional. Burgess with a wild shot. And Florida State in possession. Wilkes. Trying to slip it underneath, and a foul. Singleton taking that pass and was hacked on the play by Nixon. So 2 shots coming up for Chris Singleton, who's a 68% free throw shooter. Nice
job by Florida State, really pushing the ball in transition and getting the ball right to the front of the rim. Singleton's going to get a pair of free throws. But Duelke's did an excellent job of getting penetration off that outlet pass. And Leonard Hamilton, you see that glare. I'd be scared to death of that glare if I saw it at halftime. His team has responded to whatever he said. Programming reminder, Fear the Skies, Face the Enemy, Fight for Survival from TNT and DreamWorks Television. Falling Skies series premiere this June, only on TNT.
You know, Steve, I really enjoy reading these programs. I'm having a little throat issue, as you're well aware of, and the fact that you have been able to step in so fluidly.
You know what? That's what a team is all about. One guy goes down, and the next guy steps in.
4 minutes gone by in the second half. Actually, I'm all right. I just wanted to hear you read all the spots.
I'm kind of enjoying it.
Gets rushed around Rodriguez. Whoa! Crowd looking for a pop, but he lost it. Duelke's with the lead intended for James, but it was broken up. Good play by Javante Reddick, able to get back. Timeout called. Florida State up by 2. All right, thank you, Greg. in the first of that doubleheader. The Tar Heels advanced, 18-point victory over Marquette. So they await the winner between Ohio State and Kentucky. And Kansas checking out this game between VCU and Florida State. They'll play the winner here. That comes Rodriguez. Scheme. Rodriguez, they swing it. And that is a three-pointer. Brandon Roselle, who, as you mentioned earlier, shoots very well. There's a steal. Offensive foul.
Yeah, they got Burgess after the steal. Leonard Hamilton relieved there. That was a big exchange. But a beautiful possession to start with for VCU. The ball movement, the extra pass. Roselle has a stroke that he can get going in a hurry. Then the steal, but the offensive foul.
Brandon Roselle back from a broken hand. He sat out 8 games. You see 11 lead changes. Ed Nixon coming on for Bradford Burgess. Burgess has had the hot hand. Florida State in possession.
VCU picks up its full court pressure defense again, trying to force some turnovers. The Seminoles, we talked about, average 16 turnovers per game on the year. They only had 3 in the first half. They've done a nice job of handling this pressure.
Laux' pass broken up. Here is Roselle once again for 3, and it's rebounded by James.
But I like what they did there. Scheme going inside. You're playing inside out. You find an open look.
Stay right here, says the official. Foul is on Reddick. That is his second.
This is a grown man's game out here. I mean, it is so physical in the paint. Both teams very active, very athletic. Florida State obviously bigger and stronger. That's the edge on the boards. But VCU fighting for everything right now.
Laux on the drive. Offensive foul. It's a charge on Luke Laux.
And I'll tell you what, Jamie Skeen very fortunate on that inbounds pass. I thought he reached in just before this play. Like he reached in and would have picked up his 4th foul. Instead, VCU takes the charge. Laux gets called for the foul. And without Skeen, you see right there, VCU is in some trouble offensively. That was a big exchange. That could have very easily been his 4th.
William Kitchen checking back in for David his dual keys. And Darius Theus now working the point, played well in the first half, coming on for Rodriguez. After Rodriguez picked up a 3rd foul.
Matchup zone coming from Florida State. Leonard Hamilton mixing up his defense a little bit.
Roselle for 3. Brandon Roselle, who averages 11 points off the bench, shoots 40% from downtown. Good pressure again. Theus looking for the steal, but it's handled by James.
2 huge shots from Roselle, and VCU feeling it again.
Singleton off on that 3-point attempt. Kitchen is right there, as he has been throughout the night.
I know I've said it more, but it bears repeating. The size across the board for Florida State at every position. So much size and length, and that allows them to get offensive putbacks, but also allows them to extend their defense like they're doing right here.
Brandenburg. Roselle feeling it. Again! Another 3.
This zone has backfired a little bit on Hamilton. 2 straight threes from Roselle.
Kitchen down in a hurry and then has to put it back. James working the post. James, nice move. Goes right at Jamie's scheme and is able to score.
So quick.
Roselle again fires up a 3. And a good play. Last touch by Virginia Commonwealth.
Roselle taking advantage of the zone here. Singleton late on his closeout, and then another one. Roselle catching fire just like he did last weekend. He was so important. He had that big game against Georgetown, 26, had several big threes against Morehead State. And Florida State, I would expect to go back to the man-to-man.
Rosell has scored the last 9 points for Virginia Commonwealth, all 9 coming on three-pointers.
And now VCU goes back to his own. So both clubs really changing defenses here.
Lark's not over the hit. Here's Theus, chased from behind. Snare was able to get a piece of it, knocked it away.
Snare may be shaken up. He's limping down the floor, trailing the play.
Nice spin move by Singleton to draw the foul against DJ Haley. And for VCU, their 6th team foul, this one in the act.
Well, Marv, this is for you.
Yes.
For instant analysis and highlights of every tournament game, log on to si.com. How'd I do?
Well done.
Thank you.
Solid. The brief ones are the tough ones, because I know you have so much more to say.
I got a lot of energy.
Yes.
I'm ready to let it go.
Singleton is 68% free throw shooter. Last year's ACC Defensive Player of the Year. He's been ACC All-Defensive Team the past 2 seasons. Among the leaders in steals in the Atlantic Coast Conference. 6'9", 225-pound junior.
And guards anybody on the floor. I mean, his defensive versatility is remarkable. He'll go to the bench now as O'Carl White comes back in. Another long athlete for Leonard Hamilton. And the press forces a turnover.
Kicks it off the fake. Try to dunk it. And it's put in by Bernard James.
Back and forth we go, Mark.
1 point. Florida State lead with 8 minutes gone by, second half. Marv Albert, Steve Kerr, Craig Sager at the Alamo Dome in San Antonio. Rosell flips it. Yes! And the foul. Brandon Rosell with the last 11 for VCU. The foul called on O'Carl White, his 4th of the night.
Welcome back. VCU by 1, and it's been the three-point shooting that has been the offensive threat for VCU tonight, just as it has been throughout the tournament. Brandon Rosell, several from long range. VCU 9 for 18 overall, and they have outscored USC, Georgetown, Purdue. It doesn't matter who it is, they're getting it done from the line.
Yeah, they have been carried by their three-point shooting in the tournament. 41% from 3 in the 3 games coming into tonight. And the thought was it might be a little different going up against the defense of Florida State.
If you watch the Florida State-Notre Dame game, and Notre Dame, one of the best three-point shooting teams that you'll see out there, but they were smothered at that three-point line. Hansbrough, Abramitis really struggled against this D, so this is surprising that VCU shooting so well from the three-point line.
Traveling violation off the pressure after Rosell completed the three-point play. That's the man that VCU wanted to have the ball. Terrence Shannon got himself into trouble.
Yeah, and there's that full court pressure. And we heard Shaka Smart talk about it at halftime. If they can make shots and get to the free throw line, then they can set up their press. And if they can do that, they can force some turnovers.
Over on CBS, Ohio State up by 1 with under 8 minutes remaining. We have a 2-point game here. Virginia Commonwealth up over Florida State. He has done a nice job coming on for Rodriguez. 3-point attempt this time is off the mark by Rosell. Kept alive though by the Rams. This is Brandenburg. Up the step. Burgess, the 3. Bradford Burgess, 21 points, 5 from downtown.
And that was absolutely beautifully done by the Rams. Their offensive execution using Rozelle as a decoy that time, setting up Burgess, and he knocks down the 10th three-pointer of the game for VCU.
Virginia Commonwealth showing their support in this crowd here in San Antonio. And there is Bradford Burgess, who is now 5 of 6 from beyond the three-point line.
Yeah, he and Rozelle have really been great from back there. And I'm so impressed with VCU's offensive execution. Just the way they're spreading the floor, getting the ball moving. This is such a good defense that they're facing. So much speed, but their ball movement giving them some openings.
Nice move inside by Xavier Gibson. Could not finish. Able to keep it alive, though. Miller tipped off by Burgess. The VCU offense kind of helter-skelter. Brandenburg for three.
Oh, another one.
Rob Brandenburg, a freshman from Gahanna, Ohio. Here is Miller, who has a nice touch. Virginia Commonwealth up 57-51, just under 10 minutes remaining, second half.
And after that difficult first half for both teams, really, this is picked up. The pace, the execution, and the shooting.
Trying to get the screen, and that pass thrown wildly, intended for Burgess.
Right idea, the penetration and the kick out, but poor execution. Theus just couldn't find Burgess in the corner.
Luke Laux, Michael Snare check back in for Leonard Hamilton and Florida State. And here comes Joey Rodriguez, who is playing with 3 personal fouls.
And here comes the full court pressure again from VCU. Anytime the ball is out on the sidelines, the Rams are picking up full, trying to speed up Florida State, get them going, and possibly trap them from behind.
Now Kitchen did a good job bringing it across. This is Singleton. Out. Snare. Kitchen trying to make the turn. Good job defensively, once again by VCU. Snare, played well by Burgess, shot clock down at 3. Kitchen for 3. It's an air ball, and the ball back to Virginia Commonwealth.
The activity of VCU, Shaka Smart going nuts on the sidelines. He is so excited with his defense, Marv. They are bringing it. I mean, this is a critical moment in this game. They got a 6-point lead, and defensive activity is going to be key. They're bringing it.
We talked about this yesterday with the coaches. When things go wrong for Florida State, the ball doesn't move, it sticks, and we just saw that on that possession.
Yeah, but a lot of it had to do with the Rams' activity. I mean, they made every pass a difficult one.
Rozelle.
Wow.
What a game for Brandon Rozelle.
And Rozelle looks over at Smart and says, I need one. He's been attacking the rim for about 5 straight minutes here. He needs a rest. He's exhausted.
He has scored 14 points, an 11-2 run here by VCU as we come up on 8 minutes remaining in the second half. Kitchen able to get to the rim. And he's had an excellent game. That's 16 points for Kitchen.
Where would Florida State be without him? I mean, they've had nothing going offensively. A little delay of game warning here on Florida State. But Kitchen has carried this club with his 16 points. Every time they've needed a bucket, he's found one. He's 7 for 15 on from the floor on the night. And he has been the guy.
Theus and Rodriguez combining in the backcourt. Nice backdoor pass. Beautifully done. Rodriguez on the hop to Theus.
Shaka Smart knows what he's doing, Mark. This guy can coach. I mean, he's reading what Florida State is doing, and he's attacking this defense the best way he knows how. Using spacing.
And here's the steal of Brandenburg. Ahead of the field. Hit from behind. It is a foul called on Chris Singleton.
Now, critical moment in this game. Roselle on the drive. He's taken over here offensively, and VCU really picking up its defense. They've got an 8-point lead, putting pressure on.
Welcome back to San Antonio. Right now, it's Virginia Commonwealth leading Florida State. The winner takes on the Kansas Jayhawks. They are here in full force. Danny Manning, he is scouting Virginia Commonwealth. Assistant coach Curtis Townsend, he is scouting Florida State. Head coach Bill Self is back with the team watching on television. As soon as the game is over, one of the game plans will be implemented as we prepare for tomorrow. Marv?
All right, Craig, Bill Self's Jayhawks with a 77-57 victory earlier tonight over the Spiders of Richmond. And Kansas will face the winner of this game on Sunday afternoon, a game that will be telecast by CBS.
And the way VCU has responded here in the last few minutes, it's looking more and more like it's going to be the Rams. They've done an excellent job here in the second half on the boards. Remember all those offensive rebounds for Florida State. 14 in the first half, just 4 here in the second. So VCU really getting after it, fighting for their lives on the glass, and it's paying off.
This the biggest lead of the game as we come up on 7 minutes to play. Got it inside, but good defense again by the Rams of VCU. Rodriguez with the lead was slightly off the mark. Snare for 3.
Well, how about that exchange? A 9-point lead with the ball. The turnover from Rodriguez leads to the open look. It's right back to 6.
Lewis able to maintain possession. The attempted steal by Kitchen, who nearly picked it off. Skeen able to cut inside, and he is fouled.
That good call. James got him on the arm, but I'm really impressed with what VCU has done here offensively. On the move, they're getting Florida State spread out, but they're getting them on the move. Look at the shooting percentage, 53% for VCU tonight after what Florida State did to Texas A&M and Notre Dame. It's a testament to VCU's activity offensively, their ball movement, their willingness to make 1 and 2 extra passes at times.
Pocketed by Snare, putting the scheme at the line. Just saw a shot of Shaka Smart, second-year head coach of VCU. Spent a year as an assistant to Billy Donovan at Florida. He's been an assistant at Clemson and Dayton, University of Akron. Kitchen pulls it down, and he hits the floor as he is fouled.
Well, what a great rebounding guard Kitchen is. He's got 8 boards now. He's been all over the offensive glass. Very rare to see a guy who handles the ball so often also end up on the offensive boards because your transition defense is compromised. But it's part of the plan for Leonard Hamilton. He knows Kitchen is a good offensive rebounder. He gets Miller and the other guards to get back defensively. He gives Kitchen that freedom.
Foul committed by Theus. Virginia Commonwealth is over the limit. 1-1 here for Kitchen. Well, probably to call the end out to 2 shots for Verwin Kitchen. And now here comes the hot shooter. Brandon Rozelle had that brief rest. He had asked out, as you mentioned. Comes on for Rob Brandenburg. Brandenburg, the freshman, did a nice job in his several minutes of playing time.
He brings a lot of energy to the floor, and he will play a major role for VCU going forward as Rodriguez and Rozelle move on next year.
The lead is down to 5. Whoa! Jamie Skeen upset with himself. That got away from him.
It was the right idea. It was just poor execution. You know, Rodriguez not a big target over there in the corner, but when you go up to pass, you got to make sure you convert. But he had an open look over there if Skeen could have made the better pass.
Turnover number 16 by Virginia Commonwealth over on CBS. Kentucky up by 1 under 3 minutes remaining. Here in San Antonio, just under 6 to go. snare, comes up short, and Rodriguez on the ball, but he's hit. Singleton is going for the steal, try to knock it aside, and he is called for the foul.
It's a bad foul. I mean, Florida State is so good in the half-court defense, so just let Rodriguez have the ball. Let him bring the ball up the court. Get your defense set up. Instead, you send him to the line for a one-and-one. Rodriguez, 84% foul shooting.
Joey Rodriguez coming off a sensational game of the win over Purdue. 11 assists, no turnovers, which is most impressive.
Yeah, his numbers throughout this tournament are remarkable in terms of his assist-to-turnover ratio.
Both teams are now over the foul limit. Snell trying to get it down low on the bounce. And it will be VCU ball.
Got to throw it up high to Bernard James. I mean, his target is up high. That's his advantage, those long arms. You make him go down to the floor to try to get a bounce pass. That's a disadvantage for him.
David has dual keys. Comes back in for Florida State. Virginia Commonwealth with the ball. Rodriguez played by dual keys.
Look at the action side to side for VCU. Ball screens. Screens on the weak side. Everybody moving, trying to find an opening against this Seminole defense.
Theus for three. Rebounded by Kitchen. It's 10 rebounds for Kitchen. Kitchen with the bucket, but it will not count. It's waved off. Foul before the shot. But they are in the one-and-one. Foul is on Theus. That is his third.
Kitchen, Marv, a 75% foul shooter. He's 3 for 3 tonight. He's got 10 boards already. Double-double for their point guard.
Erwin Kitchen out of Jacksonville, Florida, 6'4", senior, among the ACC leaders in steals, nearly 2 a game. Leads Florida State in assists, and also averages 10 points. Does it all. He has 19 for the night. Down to a 3-point lead. 7-1 run by Florida State.
And you can hear the Seminole contingent up, trying to urge on this defense.
Vandenberg back on the floor, had the pass deflected away, but it's recovered by Burgess. He is rejected. Took plenty of time on the shot clock.
Incredible. The block. I think that was James coming from the weak side out of nowhere.
Now down to 5 on the shot clock. Roselle is blocked. A snare jumps out for the rejection.
They are relentless, Marv. They never give up on a possession. First it's James. Look at this, coming from the weak side, that long left arm. And then the ball reversal. Looks like Rozelle's going to have another open three. The snare comes on that closeout. Great defense.
Only 3 on the shot clock. They have to hurry. It's an air ball, so the ball back to Florida State. Florida State in the top 10 of the nation in block shots. They average nearly 6 a game, and we saw a couple on that last possession.
Yeah, 197 blocks coming into this game.
Kentucky up by 1 during the final minute over on CBS as Burgess is called for the foul. That is his 4th.
Both teams now in the bonus, and you've got to be smart. Understand time and score and possession. Don't give a team easy points, whether it's off a turnover or sending them to the free throw line.
The 1-1, although VCU's next foul will provide the double bonus to the individual foul trouble, led by Burgess, who has 4, 3 apiece on Theus, Rodriguez, and Skeen.
And remember, Mark, this is a very poor free throw shooting team for Florida State, just 66% on the season.
We talked about it right at the start, although Florida State has been a superb defensive team. Offensively, they've had problems scoring. They average just 69 points a game. However, they give up only 62. They do not shoot the three well. Problems at the foul line, as you mentioned, although able to knock that one down. So Michael Snare at the line for the first time this evening.
Yeah, for Florida State, it's always a matter of trying to find points. They don't know where the points are going to come from. So Leonard Hamilton just kind of rotates players in and out defensively and hopes to just find an offensive combination that works. They can almost always count on their defense, but that's been the surprise here tonight. As good as they are and as active as they've been, VCU with their execution shooting almost 48%.
Ball in the hands of Roselle. Nice pass, and Skeen was fouled from behind. That'll put Jamie Skeen, a 73% free throw shooter, at the line. The foul on Kitchen. Wow, thank you, Greg. So that means the Jayhawks of Kansas, the only #1 seed remaining.
Wow is right. I mean, I think most people felt like Ohio State was, if not the best team in the country, certainly one of the top three, and that if they were going to lose in the tournament, maybe it would be to North Carolina. But Kentucky pulling off the upset.
Jamie Skeen at the line, a 73% free throw shooting, just 4 of 7. It is a 2-point lead for Virginia Commonwealth. They're led by as many as 9. Bernard James able to rip it down for Florida State.
Skeen having all kinds of trouble at the line. These are 3 points here, but obviously a lot of pressure out there.
The winner between VCU and Florida State will take on Kansas Jayhawks. Bad pass. Snare tried to get it down low.
A great catch from Brandenburg. That could have been a turnover. Risky pass from Rodriguez.
Rodriguez watched by Snare. Nice pass inside, and Skeen converts.
And another example of that VCU ball movement and execution. Really setting good screens on the perimeter, spacing the floor, and stretching this Florida State defense out.
11 points for Jamie Skeen. Florida State takes a timeout. They're down by 4.
Let's take a look at the Coke Zero impressive moment. How about the defense of VCU? They have 9 steals tonight. They put all kinds of pressure on the Florida State offense. And the Seminoles have the ballyhoo defense coming in. You like that word?
Ballyhoo, yes.
But it's been VCU who's shown a ton of activity here, particularly in the second half. They've gotten after it, and they're trying to bear down here and try to close this game out.
There have been 13 lead changes. Florida State 2 timeouts left. VCU has 3. Nice move behind the back to set it up. Snare. Rebound was missed by Singleton. And a foul has been called.
I think they got Roselle as Kitchen came in for another offensive rebound. And Kitchen will go back to the free throw line. Take a look. I don't know how the first shot didn't go in. And then the second on the dunk attempt. And then Roselle on the arm of Kitchen.
Kitchen is 5 for 5 at the line. Meanwhile, Virginia Commonwealth with their 10th team foul, so it's a double bonus scenario now for Florida State.
I'll tell you who's enjoying this right now is Bill Self. I mean, these teams right here are beating each other up. This has been an incredibly physical game. Both teams exerting so much energy. Meanwhile, the Jayhawks just sitting there waiting for one of them.
Particularly with both clubs going with pressure defense at each other. Kitchen hits just 1 of 2, and it's a 3-point lead for Virginia Commonwealth. Arrow in favor of Florida State. Should that come into play? Burgess. Watched by Singleton. Coming up on 2 minutes remaining second half. Rodriguez can't find any daylight. Shot clock to 3, down to 2. One steal is blocked. Another block by the Seminoles. Bernard James comes up with his second.
Now, VCU was trying to execute its offense. They had all kinds of movement, screening, spacing, but they couldn't find any opening. And finally, the shot clock about to run out. And there's the long arm of Bernard James.
Now Javonte Reddick will come back for Bradford Burgess. So Shaka Smart going offense-defense here because Burgess has 4 personal fouls.
And after a pretty good stretch there offensively, VCU has hit a dry spell here. Florida State really picking up its defense.
VCU has missed its last 5 shot attempts and 4 straight misses at the foul line.
And those are the killer. I mean, you expect to go through droughts against Florida State, but when you can get to the line, you've got to capitalize.
Apparently a wet spot on the floor being taken care of. A request for a towel, as simple as that.
Now, all the VCU fans standing, all the Seminole partisans standing nervously, and all the Kansas fans just sitting there nice and relaxed. We've already gotten advanced. We're going to be there Sunday. We're waiting for one of you.
It is Florida State ball. Virginia Commonwealth by 3. See the Rams digging in as Kitchen moves it up. And sets the screen. Here comes Kitchen. He's at the step.
Good challenge from Reddick. Made that shot a little more difficult for Kitchen. And now Shaka Smart wants a timeout.
Steve, that's the way things have gone in this 2011 NCAA tournament. 13 games decided by 3 points or less. Remember that opening day, that's where it all began.
Yep.
We had a lot of frantic finishes. 14 games decided on the last possession. There have been 3 overtime games. And you see the story tonight. Both teams playing virtually their entire roster. There were 50 substitutions made in the first half.
It's been a battle out there. Players tangled up right now. And Shaka Smart knows how critical this possession is right here. Well, that's why he called the timeout. He's got 2 left. But this is such an important possession. He wants to get something good. If he can get a hoop here, it puts a ton of pressure on Florida State.
About a minute 35 remaining, second half. 3-point lead for Virginia Commonwealth. Brandenburg using the pick from Burgess. Roselle, who's had the hot hand.
Well defended by Florida State.
Rodriguez got the step. Looked like it was deflected. Florida State with the ball down by 3.
Well, they had a chance to push the ball with Rodriguez on the floor, but Kitchen slowed up, and now Florida State in the half court.
Less than a minute to play. Wilkes. Really lost it. Singleton. And the game is tied.
What a shot from Chris Singleton out of nowhere.
That was his first 3-pointer of the night. Tied at 65.
And a 9-second differential from the shot clock to the game clock.
Brandenburg to the crossover. Rodriguez looking for space. And a timeout is called by Shaka Smart.
Incredible shot from Chris Singleton, who coming off that foot injury, really didn't have any offensive rhythm when he started this game. He got a few buckets early. The bench loves it. The Seminoles somehow are tied. 20 seconds to go.
See timeouts remaining. Virginia Commonwealth with 1, Florida State with 2. VCU in the double bonus. Florida State over the limit. Possession hour to Florida State. 20 seconds remaining. 11 on the shot clock. He got the step, rejected again by Bernard James. Florida State can set up for the winner. Final seconds.
No timeout from Leonard Hamilton.
Down to 3. Down to 2. Here is Kitchen. Can he get it off? He does. No. Would not have counted. And we go to overtime.
How about the block? Beautifully executed play by Shaka Smart. And James comes out of nowhere. Burgess had an open look, but look at that extension. And then at the other end, Florida State can't get a shot off. We go to extra time.
Florida State about to play their first overtime game of the season. Third for Virginia Commonwealth. How about Chris Singleton with that three-pointer to tie it, and he has got 26 minutes tonight, and this only his third game back from the broken right foot.
Well, and I think the advantage now goes to Florida State. Here's the last possession. Leonard Hamilton electing not to call a timeout. He gives the ball to Kitchen and no penetration. And you look at the top of your screen, Singleton desperately wanted the ball and he's frustrated. And he's really their best one-on-one player. And I think if Leonard Hamilton could do it over again, he'd want to, if not call a timeout, at least get the ball to Singleton.
It'll be Reddick and James on the center jump to get this 5-minute overtime underway, controlled by Florida State. Virginia Commonwealth led by as many as 9. It is a 62-53 advantage with 7 minutes left since then, a 12-3 run by the Seminoles.
And you wonder, can VCU maintain the emotional level they need for this game, the tie-up? And it will go over to VCU, but it's so tough as a team when you feel like you're right there, you have the game in your hands, and it goes to overtime. Can you respond, particularly with the offensive struggles Shaka Smart's team has had here in the last 7-8 minutes against Florida State?
Second overtime in the Sweet 16. Florida with the victory over Brigham Young University. And the other one, again, a wet spot on the floor. And this time, David Gulkeys providing some help along with Joey Rodriguez.
It has been hot and humid here in San Antonio, but I think that was the result of players going down for that jump ball.
Did you say it was steamy earlier?
Steamy.
That was the way that he passed on.
He refused to use that in our open, however.
Game is tied at 65. An adventurous dribble. And it's a turnover.
Adventurous possession for Reddick.
James on the block. He lost it. And then recovers.
I think both these teams are tired. Well, I mean, who can score in this overtime? That's the question.
Snare. Trying to use the screen. Goes to the rim. That counts. And the foul. Beautiful move.
Michael Snare finding the open lane, penetrating to his left. And the clear out down there by Bernard James. Just sealing his man off. Watch, he seals Reddick off. That allows just enough space for Snare to finish the play.
Foul committed by Rob Brandenburg. And Michael Snare looking for the three-point play. He's an 80% free throw shooter. Florida Florida State has come back from a 9-point deficit, and they now lead by 2. Roselle backs it up.
Roselle had that hot streak, but ever since, Snare has been all over.
Yes, at one point he hit 11 consecutive shots. This is Burgess for 3.
There it is. Great execution, the spacing, and Burgess playing that kind of small 4 position, drawing the big man out to the perimeter.
His 6th three-pointer, which ties a career high. Bad pass. Rodriguez is right there, stepping in front of James.
What a huge shot that was for Burgess. The drought offensively finally ends, and now VCU a chance to extend the lead.
And the foul on a reach, and it's called on Michael Snare, trying to slap the ball away from Brandon Roselle.
Well, this is why Burgess is so important. This Florida State defense is so good, but playing the 4 spot, he can extend out to that 3-point line, and it's the only way you can stretch the Florida State defense out. They're so quick to recover the ball, so you really have to find shots at the 3-point line.
Florida State over the foul limit, which continues into the overtime. So here's Roselle, a 78% free throw shooter. 1-1.
And a bad foul by Florida State. I mean, it's so difficult for either team to score right now that you get a cheap foul 30 feet away from the hoop, you're just giving points away.
Brandon Roselle, who's made it back from a broken hand. At one stretch, he missed 8 games. Remember, he hit the 6 3-pointers in that win over Georgetown. Had 11 consecutive points at one stretch here tonight. Able to hit on both. Virginia Commonwealth up by 3, just under 3 to go in overtime. Al Albert, Steve Kerr, Craig Sager at the Alamo Dome, San Antonio, Texas. Kitchen gets inside, that's too easy.
Yeah, nice execution by Florida State. Getting the pick on the weak side, get the ball reversal, and it allows Kitchen the driving lane on the baseline.
1-point lead for VCU. Burgess to the baseline. And back comes Florida State. Kitchen will put it back. He was 1-on-2. Singleton looking for the ball up top. Snare. Good job here by VCU. And a steal by Rodriguez. 2 pieces back. Rodriguez trying to go all the way and drew the foul.
Well, great defense at both ends. First, it's Florida State stopping that Burgess drive. And then at the other end, Snare gets himself in trouble. You see Rodriguez right behind him, the quick hands, and then the ability to draw the foul in transition. 2 free throws coming for Rodriguez.
He is 2 of 3 at the line, an 84% free throw shooter.
He's done a nice job here tonight. The size and speed of these Florida State guards, they've bothered him, but he still has 9 assists. He's done a nice job of orchestrating this offense.
He has missed his last 2 free throws.
And VCU just 5 of 11 in the second half now.
And perhaps there's blood on the jersey or on the shorts. Apparently it's on the leg.
Yeah, it looks like it's on his knee. And the officials conferring with Shaka Smart, and I think he's going to take a timeout so that he doesn't have to remove Rodriguez. Even though Rodriguez has missed his last couple, he's still a guy that Shaka Smart trusts on the line. 84% on the year.
It's a 1-point game. VCU on top. A reminder coming up next on TBS Inside March Madness, presented by Buick. Ernie Johnson, Steve Smith, Seth Davis, and Michigan State head coach Tom Izzo are back in our Atlanta studios.
Well, Rodriguez taped up on the knee. He goes back to the line for 1 free throw. And obviously, every point critical here.
VCU having its difficulties at the line. They have now missed 6 of their last 8.
And 3 in a row for the 84% Rodriguez. VCU goes back to his own.
Down to 1 minute and 40 remaining in the 5-minute overtime. That's a 3-point attempt that is well off the mark.
Wow, Wilkie's not even close. The ball reversal against the zone looked like he was going to have an opening, but I think VCU contested, closed out pretty well there, but man, that was way off.
Rob Brandenburg will come back. Comes out for Darius Theus. So Rodriguez moves it across against dual keys. Now to 1 minute 20. Virginia Commonwealth with the 1-point lead. Brandenburg fires. Rebounded by James of Florida State.
There's nothing doing for VCU. They can't find an open look.
And Leonard Hamilton calls for time. 53 seconds left in overtime. VCU by 1. Well, this is the first ever meeting between a number 10 seed and a number 11 in NCAA tournament history. And it's been a wild one, starting with the 50 substitutions made in the first half. For those we set up earlier, both these teams like to go to the bench and play a lot of guys.
Well, and if you're Florida State, you got an interesting situation here. 53 seconds. I think you go to that guy, Chris Singleton. When we talked to the Florida State people yesterday, everybody said Singleton is the one who gives this team confidence. We saw him hit the big 3 at the end of regulation. They really haven't gone to him much here. The other thing, Marv, you go 2 for 1. A lot of college teams don't do it, but if you can get a shot off before 35 seconds, then you don't have to foul if you're still down 1.
Snare on the wing, Kitchen looking down low. Out of 10 on the shot clock. Singleton on the drive. Another huge field goal from Chris Singleton with 16 points. Florida State has taken a 1-point lead with 20 seconds remaining.
Smart with 1 timeout left if he needs it.
Down to 10. Rodriguez on the drive. And it's deflected away. Last touch by Florida State with 7.9 to play. And now the timeout is called by Shaka Smart.
Well, look at the drive from Singleton against this 2-3 zone. Finally finding an opening. And Singleton giving his team the 1-point lead.
All right, back in San Antonio, down to 7.9 seconds. VCU in possession. They do not have any timeouts remaining.
And so the first thing is get the ball in bounds. Remember the end of the North Carolina-Washington game, the long arms of John Henson, and then the Arizona-Texas game, the 5-second call. So VCU has to get the ball in first and foremost, and Florida State's going to call a timeout after Leonard Hamilton got a look at the VCU offense. But the Rams are going to have to get the ball in first, and then I think they've got to go to Burgess. It's probably their best option.
Florida State down to 1 timeout remaining. But it's Virginia Commonwealth with the ball, and they have no timeouts left.
And if you're Florida State, obviously if there's a VCU score, you got to call that timeout immediately. The VCU again, they have to get the ball inbounds first, and then they've got to find a way to attack this Florida State defense. And look for James to be on the ball here if he turns around.
Joey Rodriguez looking to throw in, facing the count, gets it in, and Burgess with the score. VCU up by 1. No timeouts being called. Kitchen. It's over. It's all over. The Rams of Virginia Commonwealth continue on to the Elite Eight. They win it in overtime. Burgess having the greatest night in his career.
It's got to be. And how about that man, Shaka Smart, drawing up the out-of-bounds play underneath to free up Burgess. Just incredibly well done.
26 points for Burgess, tied a season high, equal to career high with 6 3-pointers. And Virginia Commonwealth advances to the Elite Eight for the first time in school history. They will go on to play the Jayhawks of Kansas. That game to be seen on CBS on Sunday. Here's another look at that game winner.
Well, he just drew something up with the player coming out to the perimeter, just drew a couple of defenders, and that allowed Burgess the angle. And then Kitchen probably could have shot, but he thought he was going to get blocked, and too late. VCU in the Elite Eight.
So he has a date with Bill Self's Kansas team on Sunday afternoon. What a run for VCU. They defeat USC in the first 4, wins over Georgetown, Purdue, and now Florida State, as we send it to Craig Sager. Craig.